can evaluate. Now you can say some things are priceless. Business people may disagree. But hacking is a business. So in order for me to make it reasonable that I get hackers on the right side, I need to make a good business case. And I don't know about you guys, but $445 billion sounds like a pretty good business case to me. And the best way to do this is offensive security. So if I'm trying to tackle that kind of market segment where I can tell somebody, look, I'm going to save you billions of dollars, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to cost way less than billions of dollars, hence the bug bounties. You pay me a couple thousand for a couple of bugs that I reveal for you. You keep me an honest person, and you better your product. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Doesn't that sound like a good deal? And that's really why we're all in security in some ways, right? I mean, of course, security is awesome, but there's also we need to make a living. So, and business people know that. So, offensive security. So, in order for OSS to kind of build a reputation and build a membership and a group of people who are able to excel in this field, we need to start setting a standard. So, what we did was after we founded OSS, we went to a competition at Cal Poly Pomona, and we cleaned house. It's pretty awesome. This is Cal Poly's own competition. We walked in and we took first place from them. It was pretty awesome. And so this was our founding, or so to speak, our planting the flag in the soil, so to speak. And over here we have one of our original founders, Chris Garcia, and Laura Chu, for those of you who got to meet her earlier. She's awesome. She was there helping us. She's not a student. She's one of the advisors for the group. Same thing with Chris Pavan, which I'll mention a little later. This is Jake. And ultimately, all these people had an immense impact on laying the groundwork for this. Because if it wasn't for these men and women, OSS would have a harder time. Would have a harder time making a case. We know what we're doing. This is what we proved. So with that, I want to talk about where we are today and where we're going. So, our membership. Say hi, guys. This pretty good. This is a small portion of them. We actually have over 50 plus members. Unfortunately, between class, work, distances, some live in LA, some live further out. It's difficult to come. I understand some have family obligations and some need to babysit. Cool. But we have a pretty good turnout. And I'm really grateful and proud of our membership this year. So far, it's been amazing. And one of the things I'm happiest about is that there's a good diversity. There's a good mix. We have men and women in our organization, which is typically hard. When we first started, we pretty much only had guys. And it was cool. There was a strong push at our school, like, come on, you have to get the girls involved. Get the women, the young women who are just as capable and just as able. And it's tough because, to begin with, there's a smaller number of them in our field. It's just the way it is. But what I was happy about was to see the gaining interest, and we started attracting women to the cause, and I'm really proud to say that they're holding it on. It's awesome to see. Now it's not an even mixed, but I look forward to seeing the day that it is. So we do further our cause simply by doing a couple of straightforward things that have been proven to work. So one of the things is weekly challenges. So the weekly challenges are pretty straightforward. The easy challenges that we put up just to kind of keep people's use of the software and the tools kind of readily on hand. So we had a simple warm-up the first week. It was a basic cryptography challenge where they had a message, they had to figure out what encryption was used and try to deduce what the message said. Pretty straightforward. Then who am I, which was kind of a build off on that. So not only did they have to figure out the more complicated and difficult style the method of cryptography, but the message was cryptic. So they had to understand what the context of the message was and deduce who it was that was making the message. Find the evil is kind of like an inside joke. It's basically a message. It's essentially steganography challenge where we had a picture that had an embedded message in it, and they had to decrypt it and figure out what it said, what the file was, and it was ultimately evil.exe, hence the find the evil. And inline, which was just briefly, I sounded like a little too fast, which was basically a similar to like a combination of cryptography, steganography, and a couple other things. But what I'm proud to say is between each of these challenges, the number, or the portion of our membership that seemed to be learning and getting these improved massively. So between each week, more and more members were getting these challenges, which is really it makes me really happy. They're hungry and dedicated, seriously, like they are. Like, this is them. This is about a week ago. One of the challenges had just ended, the inline one, and this is our Vice President, Luis, and he's showing everyone how to do it. And I promise you this was not framed. Everybody is, and here's proof. Everybody was smiling, and that really made me happy. That really made me proud and happy that everyone is engaged. Because security can be sometimes a bit of a lonesome thing. It really can be. And it can be sometimes a little dark. So it's nice to see that our members are smiling and excited about security because it is important. And we have more challenges every week, and they're currently working on one, so I don't want to talk about it and give it away. But they're currently working on one. It's due on Tuesday before every member meeting. They're kind of used to that trip. We have weekly events aside from that. So aside from our member meetings, which are on Tuesdays from 6 to 7, we also have weekly events. And on weekly events, they're typically from 3 to 5, and they're in one of our labs. Some of the past events we've had are controlled hijacking through library exploitation. So basically, we took a program that used dynamically linked libraries. We exploited the program to run our own modified version of the library, and we're able to get it to do some pretty cool things. Operating system password cracking. So we took hashes of files of passwords. Pretty straightforward technique, but built on the fact that you can use different types of you can build your own basically libraries and dictionary files that you can use as a way to brute force passwords. So we did that. Cybercrime unmasked memory forensics, where we basically took memory dumps and we analyzed them for activities on the browser activities and things like that to identify individuals and whatnot. There's more to it, but I want to get through everything. Social engineering, science, psychology, and art. So, social engineering is usually often the thing that's overlooked in the technical community from a technical perspective because it's not something you code. But social engineering is really important for offensive security because actually a lot of security vulnerabilities are modeled after social engineering techniques. So it's really important to kind of bridge the gaps between all these different styles. And we also did another one, security in plain sight, where we basically talk all the different types of securities that we use, things like SSL, things that we take for granted that we don't really think about. And we went into depth about how they work, what they do and what they don't do, because there's a lot of misconceptions about them. And so these are some of the things that we do, and we want to do a whole lot more, like literally a lot more. We have Keylogger Day coming up, and all day where we do events where they build keyloggers, cell tower spoofing, where we breach communications between a phone and a cell phone tower. We have man in the middle. Some of you guys got to demo that outside, where we literally just simulate man in the middle attacks, and there's a lot of ways you can do this and a lot of degrees of methodologies and difficulties that this can be done at. And also things like steganography, actually going into more detail. So more than just hiding stuff in pictures, but like how do I hide things in my hard drive in sectors that don't use the full amount so in blocks that don't use my full memory. So I've got blocks in my hard drive. I only used, let's say 20% of that block. I've got this empty block that's left over. How do I hide data in that? It's pretty cool stuff. We have more. We have information gathering. This is more of a social engineering thing. So how do I, if given a target, how do I collect information about that target? How do I do things like build dictionary files? How do I amass information about someone? And this is important because if I'm going to attack someone or if I want to attack an application, I need to understand how this works. And I need to be able to do it so that way I can effectively attack an application. Scraping and targeted attacks. So this is kind of goes hand in hand. This is a continuation of information gathering. We have masquerading in networks and life. So that one we'll go into detail about how networks operate, how masquerading happens, how to pretend to be a device. This is a big problem, particularly in the Internet of Things community. So we'll be talking about some of the Internet of Things applications and the security problems with those in that workshop. Policy development. So talk about like the business side of things, because the business side of things is really important. So we need to talk about how things like bring your own device. Like, these are all things that affect security at a company, and talk about how, like, what are the pros for a business, what are the cons for the business, what are the dangers, how they're exposed. I'm going to just quickly go through this. Lockpicking, I think is important. Physical security. Behind enemy lines, talking about how companies are infiltrated from a social engineering perspective. Talk about how people often, special agents. I know it sounds kind of maybe a little sci-fi, but it's part of it. Corporate espionage is something that happens every day by almost all companies, and capture the flag, both the red and the blue teaming. This is really important, again, to kind of emphasize that you do have two sides of the security equation, and even though we think offensive security is more important, we also want to make sure that we have training in defensive and reactive security, because that is also a part of the equation. And really, we want to do the business case, we want to study business cases, working with legal, talk about the legalities of hacking, what is okay, what is not. A lot of our members understand the basics. They understand that what they do is being done on controlled systems in controlled environments, and everything that we're doing is legal. But the moment they step outside the bounds of what we provide them, that there's much more vast legal circumstances they have to be aware of. The users, their say, basically like, what the user thinks about security, it's important. I mean, they don't get the final say per se, but it's important to see what a security user thinks if they have to, for example, authenticate the password every 5 minutes, or if they did have some inconvenience. There is that case to study. And this is my way of saying, it could be anything. Cybersecurity is a huge field. It's an insanely huge field, and we can't tackle it on our own. That's why we're looking for any of the help, anyone who wants to come in, anyone who wants to work with us. We're looking for all the above. I promise this was intentional. So yeah, help us host more. These workshops are all workshops that we can do in a short time scale. But once we start getting into much more complicated things, they take days. They take events like this that take many hours to cover. So whatever help you guys can give us. You guys have our emails. I'll put it up later. So what are our goals? What are our long-term goals for the organization? I just want to cover some of them. So we want to obviously expand membership. If we have more members, it means we can provide more specific workshop. We can find more, and we can tailor things more specifically to members, and move into a direction where we can start forming teams, which is really one of my long-term goals as president. We want to fund projects. Now, this is both from a monetary perspective, but also from a sort of a logical one, I guess you can say. We want to start some open source projects that contribute back to the security community somehow. We have abled individuals who are learning more and more things every day and who are really hungry to start these projects. And we have the advisors. We have more than capable advisors. Trust me, we're thankful for that. And we think we can do this. We think we can start open source projects that we can give back to the open source community and really bring security to everyone. Because like I said, security is everyone's job. So engaging with industry, this is kind of part of what we're doing here today. This is really important because ultimately we can only go as far as the sort of the academic side will take us. We need industry to help us go to the next extra level. So engaging with industry is really important. And ultimately, one of our big goals is to create a large-scale event, even bigger than Cybersecurity Day. We want to create something called Camp X. Now, for those of you who don't know, Camp X is a homage to the ex-CIA, the original CIA, so to speak, training camp in Canada. And it was called Camp X. This is where the OGs, so to speak, did Black Ops training and things like that. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to teach members what security people do, not just in the office, but in the field. Because that's important. It doesn't help if I write code and I'm securing things, but if I don't understand how it's working outside of what I'm doing, it's not really helping a whole lot. I could be potentially doing more harm than good. So it's important to get that experience, even if it's just for the sake of getting experience. You can never go wrong with too much experience. Hackathons and competitions, so we included, obviously, red teaming and blue teaming would be a really obvious one that comes to mind. Hackathons where we basically provide some system, and the goal is to penetrate that system or to retrieve information or whatnot, simulate networks. And ultimately, it's to create the ideal security professional. It doesn't help if, after all of this, our members graduate and an employer looks at their resume or talks to them and go, I don't think this guy or this girl is competent enough to work in security. That's not my goal. My goal is that any employer, anyone looks at that and goes, that is obviously somebody I want to hire. That's what I want. And I hope that's what you want too. Going national. This is one of my much more long-term goals, an overarching vision. I want OSS at every school in every country. Every state, sorry. Every state. Well, every country eventually. But for now, we want to help ourselves, right? We want to help this.
And every village too.
Every village and every mountain. Yeah. Even Alaska. Even in Alaska. Yeah. Hawaii's on there. So, I want to thank you. I want to thank the Cybersecurity Center. I want to thank Dr. Goffman for being amazing advice. I want to thank everyone who came, all our sponsors. I want to thank Chris Favon again, who unfortunately he lives 6 hours from here, so he couldn't come to the event for obvious reasons. And I want to thank Laura too. Again, she's one of our honorary advisors. She couldn't be here. She was here. She's no longer here. And I want to thank Marilyn Brewer, ex-California State Assemblywoman. She's been providing us a lot of funding and helping us kind of move the needle in OSS and our vision. And without her and the other contributions from our other faculty and staff, OSS would not be possible. And of course, I want to thank our members who strive for mastery and thrive for challenge. It's because of their hunger and their dedication to OSS that we even have a membership, that we even have an operating organization. And I hope that that is something we can continue to have. Thanks. That's it. Is that long?
So do you have to be a student to join?
No, actually, you don't. I actually reviewed the ASI grade policies, and as long as 80% of my members are students, I'm okay. Yeah. And just to clarify, so the going national thing is actually a lot closer for long-term goals than it is. I'm actually currently working on the paperwork right now to make it a nonprofit organization. So once that happens, I have someone in the back who's telling me they wish they had something like this at Long Beach. They will soon, hopefully, if I can help it. Once I have the national organization and the national board founded, we'll start spreading the OSS to other sort of universities to help kind of grow that presence and really start furthering our cause. Because ultimately, we'll always be home here. This will always be our home. This will always be where we grew up, and we'll forever be in debt to Dr. Goffman and the ECS college here. But obviously, our vision needs to go further. So yeah, so to answer your question, yes, you can join me there.
That's great. I think my company can help fulfill some of the goals that you have up there, so we should definitely talk afterwards.
Great, look forward to it.
Thank you so much. Okay, do we have any other questions?
It's that good.
I think you left speechless.
Maybe. Yeah.
A question or I don't have really a question or a comment. Are you working currently with companies like Microsoft? Are you familiar with some of their organizations like IMDC, Voices for Innovation, STEM, all of those things, or not?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked into some of those programs. One of the difficulties that I have is I work 3 jobs and I go to school full time, 18 units, and then I have 16 units, and I have this organization. So one of the biggest things I always have issue is continuation and follow-ups. So I reach out to people, and often I don't get responses. So I'm not sure if it's a communication problem, or if it's I'm not entirely sure what that's about. But I do know also this is the first year where we've been active as crazy as we have. Last year we were active, but our membership was a little more sort of astray. So I also thought, when I bring in companies, I want to make sure that there's a strong presence at those events and those collaborations.
I'd be happy to make some connections if you would like. Also, are you dealing with the local cyber FBI group down here in LA?
No, and it's typically because currently, like I said, our group is still relatively sort of young, and so now that we're about a semester in and I've seen how fast they're growing, now I'm desperate to find things. So now I'm looking for more stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I can make introductions there for you, as well as with the district attorney, who's also doing stuff like that, if that's what you're looking for.
Right. I will say that a lot of the people that we meet are usually at events like this. So I mean, again, it goes back to the importance of the data. Just again, thank Microsoft and Dropbox and Security First, all of us on Dell for help sponsor this event because of them that we're able to do this.
So do we have any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I want to go home.
All right, thank you so much, Mo.
Yeah.
So there is one more thing I'd like to say before I let all of you go. I've been here for a while, and I thank all of you. So thank you so much for making this event what this is. Like I said before, Cybersecurity Day, it actually predates the center. It started as an interesting experiment in 2013. It was going to be a one Friday where we thought, let's just have a few people come and chat about security. In 2013, it was my second year over here, I've never thought that it would become what it is. Yes, like every single startup, I had, big visions, but they never were like this. So I'd like to thank, everyone who made this, especially our sponsors, the Security First, Dropbox, Microsoft, and of course Dell. So I'm very, very thankful, and of course, and thanks to all of you for coming and interacting. I would like to just say one more thing. If you'd like to know more about us, please feel free to visit our website. And now the website is www.fullerton.edu/cybersecurity. Should be easy to remember. And if you're feeling generous, please feel free to support us. Click the donate button. Every bit helps. Your donations will go toward holding more events like this. They will go toward developing a stronger curriculum. They'll go toward supporting more projects such as the ones you've seen our students present. They will go toward supporting groups like OSS. So anything you can contribute, we very much appreciate. Thank you so much, and it's people like you who are the key to the success of the center. Thank you so much for making this event what it was.